They sent some pictures coming from the satellite from space, looking at the surface underground, the main pyramid of Giza.
In the quiet, rolling hills of Bosnia, a discovery emerged that could, if true, rewrite everything we thought we knew about human history. Near the small town of Visoko, a series of massive pyramid-shaped hills captured attention, not just locally, but globally. Taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza, older than Egypt's ancient wonders, these hills stirred both awe and skepticism. Some proclaimed them remnants of a lost civilization buried in mystery for millennia. Others dismissed the claims outright, labeling them as elaborate hoaxes. Mainstream scientists warned against getting carried away. Natural formations, they said. Pareidolia, they cautioned, our tendency to see patterns where none exist. Yet the allure was irresistible. Who wouldn't be curious about pyramids in the heart of Europe? Who wouldn't want to uncover what lies beneath layers of earth that may have remained untouched for tens of thousands of years? The story begins not with an archaeologist trained in labs and universities, but with a curious man, Samir Osmanagic, a Bosnian-American businessman and amateur archaeologist. His arrival in Visoko in 2005 set the stage for one of the most controversial and tantalizing mysteries of the 21st century. Osmanagic wasn't looking to rewrite history. He was merely intrigued by a hill the locals called Visočica, long assumed to be a natural rise in the terrain. But Osmanagic saw something different. To him, Visočica was not a hill. It was a pyramid. Straight sides, flat tops, precise alignment with the cardinal points. These weren't characteristics of ordinary hills. The more he studied it, the more certain he became. This was a structure crafted by intelligent hands, not a formation of nature. And once that idea lodged itself in his mind, he couldn't ignore it. He took his claims public, sparking media frenzy, tourism waves, and global debates. Visoko, a quiet town just outside Sarajevo, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Visitors flocked from around the world, not only to see the supposed pyramids, but to participate in excavations, explore tunnels, and witness firsthand what some were calling the greatest archaeological discovery of modern times. Yet, for every believer, there was a skeptic ready to dismiss the entire phenomenon as wishful thinking, exaggeration, or deliberate fraud. At the heart of this conflict lies a question that remains unanswered. Are the hills of Visoko truly pyramids, or are we witnessing a remarkable coincidence of nature? The line between fact and speculation blurs, leaving the world captivated, intrigued, and divided. The story truly began when Osmanagic set foot in Visoko. Locals had lived with Visočica for generations, believing it to be just another hill. Children played along its slopes, shepherds tended their flocks nearby, and farmers cultivated the land around it. To them, Visočica was simply part of the landscape, unremarkable, unassuming. But Osmanagic saw geometry in its form, the straight edges, the flat summit, the way it seemed to command attention from miles away. Intrigued, he began to study it, walking its slopes, examining the angles, comparing it with maps, satellite images, and historical references. The more he explored, the more he became convinced. This hill wasn't just a geological formation. It was a pyramid, and not just any pyramid. He believed it to be the oldest and largest pyramid on the planet, predating the Egyptian pyramids by tens of thousands of years, and standing taller than Giza by a staggering 240 feet. Soon, Osmanagic made his claims public. The world took notice. News outlets across continents picked up the story. Here was a quiet town in Bosnia, suddenly transformed into the center of a global archaeological debate. Crowds descended upon Visoko, eager to see history, or what might be mistaken for it, with their own eyes. Osmanagic established the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, channeling international attention, volunteers, and donations into what would become an unprecedented excavation project. Not everyone was thrilled. From the outset, mainstream archaeologists, geologists, and historians were vocally critical. Many dismissed Osmanagic's claims as pseudoscience, a classic case of pareidolia, or worse, a deliberate attempt to manipulate national pride and attract tourism dollars. Experts argued that the blocks of stone he presented as evidence were natural formations common in sedimentary regions, and that the pyramid shape was simply a coincidence of erosion and tectonic activity. Yet, despite intense criticism, excavations proceeded. Volunteers cleared tunnels, researchers documented stone formations, and an eclectic mix of believers, from amateur historians to spiritual seekers, joined the effort. The site became a melting pot of curiosity, skepticism, and fascination. Each new discovery seemed to raise more questions than it answered. Supporters of the theory pointed to the precision of the structures, their apparent alignment with cardinal directions, and the geometric harmony between multiple hills in the Visoko Valley. Critics maintained that humans are prone to seeing patterns where none exist, but the debate only intensified, setting the stage for what many would call one of the most controversial archaeological investigations of the modern era. If the claims about Visoko's pyramids are accurate, they challenge everything we know about human history. The crown jewel of the complex, the Pyramid of the Sun, rises an estimated 722 feet above the surrounding landscape, making it taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. 4 triangular sides meet in perfect symmetry, aligned precisely with the cardinal points, a feature that, if intentional, suggests remarkable architectural sophistication. But the Pyramid of the Sun isn't alone. According to Osmanagic, it is part of a larger network of colossal structures: the Pyramid of the Moon, the Pyramid of the Dragon, the Pyramid of Love, and the Temple of Mother Earth. Each is said to form a sacred geometric layout, with exact angles and distances, implying deliberate, intelligent design. Skeptics question the plausibility of such constructions. No known European civilization existed at the time these pyramids are purportedly built. There are no surviving tools, no inscriptions, no cultural artifacts to provide context. Yet, supporters argue that the material evidence is compelling. Terraced layers of sandstone and clay, flat rectangular blocks, and unusual forms of concrete have been documented. Some even claim the concrete is stronger and more water-resistant than modern equivalents. Beyond size and construction, the alignment of the pyramids is said to reflect advanced astronomical knowledge. Some researchers point out correlations with celestial formations like Orion's Belt and the Pleiades. Equilateral triangles formed between the pyramids hint at sacred geometry, and observers note remarkable precision in their positioning. Mainstream geologists maintain that the formations are purely natural. Flat stone layers, erosion patterns, and tectonic movements can produce surprisingly regular shapes. Yet the debate continues, fueled by the striking resemblance of these hills to pyramids in other parts of the world and the precise symmetry observed from aerial imagery. If the hills above ground are mysterious, the tunnels below take the enigma to a new level. Beneath the Pyramid of the Sun lies the Ravne tunnel system, an extensive network of passages first mistaken for abandoned mines. As explorations progressed, it became clear that these tunnels were far more complex than simple mining operations. Osmanagic claims the tunnels were deliberately carved by an advanced ancient civilization. Stretching for hundreds of meters, possibly miles, they remain only partially mapped. The air inside is unusually fresh, even deep underground, suggesting sophisticated knowledge of ventilation or airflow. Visitors often report odd sensations within the tunnels: tingling, feelings of lightness, bursts of euphoria, or even sudden relief from chronic ailments. Electromagnetic tests claim unusual frequencies, a persistent 28 kHz ultrasound, and high levels of negative ions, conditions typically associated with natural places of renewal like forests or waterfalls. Some enthusiasts even report the presence of an energy beam emanating from the Pyramid of the Sun, approximately 4.5 meters wide and pulsing at the same 28 kHz frequency. Skeptics argue that these observations are subjective, instruments unreliable, or measurements flawed. Nevertheless, the tunnels have become a spiritual and exploratory destination. Meditation chambers, stone benches, and soft lighting welcome those seeking to experience the purported energies firsthand. Healers, researchers, and curious travelers converge on Visoko, drawn by the promise of a tangible connection to the ancient mysteries buried beneath the earth. The story of Bosnia's Pyramids has sparked an unprecedented clash between mainstream archaeology and alternative theories. Critics argue that no credible evidence supports the idea of man-made pyramids. There are no ancient tools, inscriptions, burial chambers, or artifacts, traditional markers of civilization. In 2006, the European Association of Archaeologists officially labeled the project a hoax. Geological studies indicate the hills are natural sedimentary formations shaped over millennia by tectonic forces and erosion. Flat stone layers and angular fractures can mimic human-made blocks, giving the illusion of construction. Osmanagic's team counters with radiocarbon dating from organic material in the tunnels, suggesting ages of up to 30,000 years. If accurate, these findings would predate known civilizations by tens of thousands of years. Yet critics caution that organic material does not necessarily date the construction itself. It may predate or post-date human activity. Lack of peer-reviewed publications is another point of contention. Much of the research is disseminated through the Foundation's website, documentaries, or alternative conferences, which mainstream scholars view as insufficient evidence. Still, engineers, material scientists, and alternative historians have toured the site, noting anomalies they claim are too precise to be natural. The debate continues. Mainstream science sees coincidence, while believers see evidence of a lost civilization. The site has become a liminal space where curiosity, skepticism, and wonder collide. Let's imagine for a moment that the pyramids are real, not natural formations, but deliberately constructed monuments. What if a forgotten civilization in Europe, tens of thousands of years ago, possessed architectural, mathematical, and astronomical knowledge far beyond what we typically associate with the ancient world? The implications are staggering. Human civilization, as currently understood, began around 6,000 years ago. The Sumerians, Egyptians, and Indus Valley cultures are considered the cradle of organized society. Yet, if the Bosnian pyramids are indeed 30,000 years old, our timeline is fundamentally flawed. Humans may have possessed advanced skills in construction, astronomy, and urban planning far earlier than anyone suspected. The idea meets fierce resistance, not merely due to lack of evidence, but because it challenges the very foundations of accepted history. Academic institutions, textbooks, and museums are built upon a chronological framework that these pyramids threaten to overturn. And yet, the mystery remains. If real, who built them? For what purpose? And why would such knowledge and technology vanish without leaving traces elsewhere in Europe? These questions keep the world intrigued, ensuring that Visoko remains a place of curiosity, speculation, and endless investigation. By now, the story of the Bosnian pyramids has captured international attention, but it has also ignited one of the fiercest debates between mainstream science and alternative history enthusiasts. On one side, you have a growing body of archaeologists, geologists, and historians, many of whom are convinced that the pyramids are nothing more than natural hills shaped by the forces of erosion and tectonics over millennia. They argue that the so-called building blocks are merely sedimentary rock layers splitting along flat plains, a phenomenon common in regions with sandstone or clay deposits. To them, the pyramid shape is coincidental, a product of nature rather than human hands. Meanwhile, on the other side, supporters of Osmanagic's theory maintain that the sheer precision, size, and orientation of the structures cannot be explained by natural forces alone. They point to the alignment with cardinal points, the apparent geometry connecting the pyramids, and the anomalous materials reported in the structures. Some engineers and materials scientists have examined the concrete blocks used in the Pyramid of the Sun, claiming they exhibit properties that surpass modern-day concrete in durability and water resistance. If true, that would imply an advanced understanding of materials science far beyond what we thought ancient humans were capable of. Then there's the dating controversy. Osmanagic's team released radiocarbon dates suggesting that some organic material found inside the Ravne tunnels could be around 30,000 years old. If accurate, this would make these tunnels, and possibly the pyramids themselves, older than any known advanced human civilization. Mainstream scientists, however, caution against jumping to conclusions. They argue that organic material in the tunnels may not indicate the age of construction. It could have been deposited naturally over thousands of years, unrelated to any human activity. Yet the possibility alone is enough to fuel imagination and further debate. Peer review, or the lack thereof, remains another sticking point. Most of Osmanagic's findings have not been published in established academic journals, but instead appear in documentaries, foundation reports, and alternative science conferences. Critics see this as a major red flag, while supporters interpret it as evidence that mainstream academia is too rigid and unwilling to challenge the established timeline of human history. The result is a standoff, conventional science on one side, alternative theories on the other, and the rest of the world caught somewhere in the middle, trying to discern fact from speculation. Let's entertain the possibility for a moment. What if the Bosnian pyramids are not just hills or geological quirks, but deliberately constructed structures, created by an unknown civilization tens of thousands of years ago? What if ancient humans in Europe were capable of architectural feats that rival or even surpass those of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica? If true, the implications are staggering. The accepted timeline of human civilization would need a complete overhaul. Currently, historians trace the earliest organized societies, with writing, architecture, and complex social hierarchies, to around 6,000 years ago, with the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Indus Valley cultures leading the way. But if the Bosnian pyramids and Ravne tunnels are indeed 30,000 years old, humans were constructing massive, geometrically precise structures far earlier than previously thought, in a region of Europe that history has largely overlooked. This would force us to reconsider not just technological abilities, but social organization, cultural knowledge, and even the spread of early humans across Europe. Could there have been an advanced civilization that has since vanished, leaving only cryptic hints in the landscape? Were these pyramids part of a spiritual, astronomical, or even energy-based system designed with purposes we can only speculate on today? The sheer "what if" is enough to send archaeologists, historians, and enthusiasts into a frenzy of curiosity and debate. Resistance to this idea is understandable. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence, and the evidence here remains hotly contested. Yet the question lingers. If a civilization did create these pyramids, why has every other trace of them vanished? Was it war, climate change, or some other cataclysm that erased their history? Or have we simply failed to recognize the remnants around us? Regardless of the truth, the Bosnian pyramids have become a global phenomenon. Media outlets from all corners of the world have reported on the story. Documentaries have been made, and travelers journey from faraway countries to Visoko, eager to witness the alleged pyramids and tunnels themselves. The small Bosnian town has transformed into a bustling hub of curiosity, tourism, and exploration. The pyramids have also sparked a cultural debate. For some, they represent national pride and a potential link to a forgotten chapter of European prehistory. For others, they are a cautionary tale about pseudoscience and wishful thinking. Still, the attention has ignited curiosity in fields outside archaeology, geology, astronomy, engineering, and even alternative medicine, showing that a single discovery, disputed or not, can ripple across multiple domains of knowledge. Visoko itself has changed. Locals have embraced the influx of visitors, offering guided tours, participating in excavations, and sharing stories passed down through generations. Cafes, souvenir shops, and tour companies thrive, transforming the town's economy. Meanwhile, workshops, meditation retreats, and spiritual tours in the tunnels have created a unique intersection of tourism and metaphysical exploration. In a way, the pyramids, real or imagined, have already altered the world, not by rewriting history, but by reshaping the lives of those who seek to experience them. One of the most controversial aspects of the Bosnian pyramids lies beneath the surface, in the tunnels and purported energy phenomena. Visitors often report unusual sensations, tingling skin, feelings of lightness, bursts of euphoria, or even relief from chronic ailments such as pain, anxiety, and insomnia. While mainstream scientists dismiss these claims as anecdotal, a dedicated group of researchers and alternative therapists have attempted to measure the alleged energy fields. Electromagnetic sensors, Ultrasound devices and ion counters have reportedly detected consistent frequencies and patterns, including a recurring 28 kHz ultrasound frequency and high levels of negative ions, similar to those found near waterfalls or dense forests. Additionally, some measurements suggest a narrow energy beam emanating from the peak of the Pyramid of the Sun, pulsing at the same frequency. Believers argue that these energies are not only real, but intentionally engineered by the pyramid builders for healing, meditation, or spiritual purposes. Skeptics, however, caution that instruments may be misinterpreted. Environmental noise may create false positives, and placebo effects could explain visitor experiences. Regardless, the perception of energy, coupled with the unique architecture and underground labyrinth, has turned the site into a modern pilgrimage for those seeking spiritual insight or personal transformation. The energy debate, scientific or metaphysical, adds another layer of intrigue to an already perplexing mystery. Beyond the mainstream versus believer divide, alternative theories abound. Some suggest the pyramids were created by a forgotten race of humans. Others propose extraterrestrial intervention, while a few theorists argue for a combination of natural and artificial processes where humans enhanced natural hills into sacred monuments. Astronomical alignments fuel speculation further. The layout of the pyramids reportedly matches celestial formations like Orion's belt and the Pleiades. Some theorists argue these alignments hint at knowledge of astronomy far earlier than previously believed. Others suggest a sacred geometry at play, implying that the builders understood mathematical principles that modern scholars are only beginning to explore. While these theories remain speculative, they highlight humanity's enduring fascination with mystery and our desire to see meaning, design, and intelligence in the world around us. Whether real, symbolic, or imagined, the Bosnian pyramids have become a canvas upon which our curiosity projects its deepest questions about history, civilization, and human potential. Excavations continue today, led by Osmanagic's team, volunteers, and occasional researchers. Each year, new tunnels are uncovered, new blocks are examined, and new debates flare up across scientific journals, conferences, and online forums. The story of the Bosnian pyramids remains unfinished, a living mystery that refuses to be neatly categorized. Perhaps that's part of its allure. The pyramids challenge assumptions, provoke debate, and force observers to consider questions that have no easy answers. Are we looking at a natural formation, a monumental ancient construction, or something in between? Could it be a lost civilization, a spiritual relic, or simply a human desire to find patterns in chaos? Whatever the truth, the pyramids of Bosnia continue to capture imaginations around the world. They are a reminder that history may not be as settled as textbooks suggest, and that the Earth still holds secrets capable of rewriting what we think we know about our past. After the claims about the Bosnian pyramids spread worldwide, reactions were immediate and intense. News outlets, documentaries, and online forums lit up with debate. International media framed it as either one of the greatest archaeological finds of the century or an elaborate hoax designed to draw tourists and attention. Scientists, journalists, and conspiracy theorists alike weighed in. Headlines ranged from lost civilization discovered in Europe to Bosnian hoax rocks archaeology community. Social media amplified every claim and counterclaim, making the tiny town of Visoko a global point of interest overnight. Visoko, a quiet town outside Sarajevo, suddenly found itself at the center of an international phenomenon. Hotels were booked months in advance, restaurants were filled with curious travelers, and local guides offered tours of the hills and tunnels. Osmanagic Foundation organized excavation workshops for visitors, turning the site into an interactive experience. Souvenir shops began selling miniature pyramid models and themed merchandise, capitalizing on the surge of interest. While locals benefited economically, critics warned that the rush of tourism could compromise the site and even damage potential evidence. Despite the excitement, the scientific community's resistance only grew. Archaeologists, geologists, and historians issued formal statements labeling the project as pseudoscience. Conferences debated the claims, with experts demonstrating how natural erosion, sedimentary rock layering, and tectonic activity could explain the pyramidal shapes. Critics argued that Osmanagich was seeing patterns humans are psychologically predisposed to recognize, a phenomenon known as pareidolia. They also warned that the excavation methods, while ambitious, risked destroying authentic archaeological remains that might have existed independently of the pyramid theory. While mainstream science rejected the pyramid claims, a growing number of alternative researchers, engineers, and independent archaeologists showed interest. Some claimed that the alignment, symmetry, and geometric layout were too precise to occur naturally. Supporters traveled from all over the world, bringing with them different tools and techniques to study the site. Some tested the concrete blocks, claiming their density and durability surpassed modern materials. Others examined the tunnels for airflow patterns and energy readings. Whether motivated by curiosity, spirituality, or genuine scientific interest, these groups kept the debate alive. Beyond archaeology and science, the Bosnian pyramids raised questions about culture and spirituality. Some visitors described a profound sense of connection to history, to Earth, or even to cosmic forces. Meditation chambers were established within the tunnels, attracting spiritual seekers who reported improved mental and physical well-being. Ancient geometrical patterns and celestial alignments hinted at knowledge far beyond what was thought possible for the region's prehistoric inhabitants. This blend of archaeology, mystery, and spirituality made the site a unique crossroads where science, belief, and wonder collided. If the pyramids are indeed man-made, the level of planning, mathematics, and astronomical understanding required is staggering. Alignment with cardinal points and celestial objects like Orion's belt implies advanced knowledge that shouldn't have existed in prehistory. How could a civilization tens of thousands of years ago possess such sophistication without leaving other traces, tools, writing, or artifacts? This question haunts researchers on both sides of the debate. For believers, it suggests lost knowledge and forgotten civilizations. For skeptics, it's evidence of overinterpretation and wishful thinking. Exploration of the Raven tunnels continues to yield strange discoveries. Volunteers report air so fresh it feels unnatural, echoing theories of advanced ventilation design. Certain chambers seem to resonate at consistent frequencies, and some claim measurable energy beams shoot upward from pyramid peaks. Maps of the tunnels remain incomplete, leaving vast stretches unexplored. Every new corridor brings fresh speculation. Were these tunnels meant for ritual, storage, protection, or energy manipulation? Their purpose remains one of the most enigmatic parts of the Bosnian pyramid story. Osmanagić's team published radiocarbon dates suggesting some tunnels could be as old as 30,000 years. This alone would disrupt the timeline of human civilization. Skeptics counter that dating organic material found within tunnels does not directly date construction. Contaminated sediment, plant material, or later intrusions could skew results. The lack of peer-reviewed publications on these findings fuels both sides of the argument. Supporters argue that even if the dates are approximate, they indicate a timeline far earlier than mainstream history accepts. Beyond age, the physical construction or appearance of the pyramids fuels debate. Supporters cite flat stone layers, precise angles, and durable concrete as evidence of human design. Skeptics counter that sedimentary rock often fractures in straight, flat planes, naturally forming block-like shapes. Symmetry can emerge from erosion and tectonic forces, while pyramidal shapes can appear purely by chance. Both explanations remain plausible, and the truth may lie somewhere in between. Among the most sensational claims are the alleged energies of the site. Reports of tingling sensations, euphoria, and healing effects attract spiritual seekers and alternative scientists. Equipment allegedly detects frequencies of 28 kHz and negative ions, similar to waterfalls or forests. Some claim a beam of energy shoots from the pyramid of the sun. Critics dismiss these claims as pseudoscience, citing faulty instruments and subjective perception. Yet the consistent reports by visitors keep the legend alive, merging scientific curiosity with metaphysical speculation. Documentaries, news segments, And online videos have made the Bosnian pyramids a fixture in popular culture. Some films present the pyramids as evidence of forgotten history. Others focus on the controversy. The site features in conspiracy theories, books, and virtual tours, reaching audiences far beyond Bosnia. This media presence magnifies both fascination and skepticism, turning Visoko into a global cultural phenomenon where myth, tourism, and science intersect. Despite nearly 2 decades of research, many questions remain unanswered.